$500,000. That's not the amount you need to retire. That's the amount you could be throwing away silently, invisibly, without ever noticing, just by picking the wrong retirement account. Not the wrong stocks, not the wrong fund, just the wrong account type. And millions of people do it every single year. Here's the brutal part. The choice between a Roth IRA and a 401k looks simple on the surface. Both are retirement accounts. Both let your money grow. Both come with tax advantages, so most people just pick one, shrug, and move on. But underneath that simple surface is a decision that could literally determine whether you retire with dignity or spend your final decades stressed about money. The difference between getting this right and getting it wrong can easily hit $500,000 over a career, sometimes more. So let's break this down. Not in the dry textbook way, in the real way. The way that actually helps you understand what's happening to your money and why it matters. A 401k is offered through your employer. You put money in before you pay taxes on it. If you earn $60,000 a year and contribute $6,000 to your 401k, the IRS only sees you earning $54,000. Your taxable income drops. You pay less tax right now. The money grows in the account, and when you retire and start pulling it out, that's when you pay the taxes. Every dollar you withdraw gets taxed as ordinary income. The government let you borrow the tax benefit, and retirement is when you pay it back. A Roth IRA works the exact opposite way. You contribute money you've already paid taxes on. There's no immediate tax break. Your paycheck takes the full hit right now. But the money grows completely tax-free, and when you pull it out in retirement, you pay absolutely nothing, not a penny. You already settled up. So the core question is, do you want to pay taxes now or pay taxes later? That sounds simple, but the answer changes everything. And getting it wrong is where the $500,000 gap starts to open up. When you contribute to a 401k, you're not just deferring taxes, you're betting on your future tax rate. You're saying, I believe I will be in a lower tax bracket when I retire than I am right now. If you're right, you win. But if your tax rate in retirement turns out to be the same or higher, you just paid extra. You deferred the taxes, let the account grow for 30 years, and then handed a much bigger check to the government. And here's what nobody tells you. Most people's tax situation in retirement is not what they expected. You spend 30 years saving aggressively, and when you actually retire, you've built up an enormous pile of money in a tax-deferred account. Every dollar you pull out is taxed. Required minimum distributions kick in at age 73 and force you to take money out, whether you need it or not. Social Security gets partially taxed. Medicare premiums can go up based on your income. Suddenly, the tax picture in retirement looks a lot messier than it did when you were young. That's not a reason to hate 401ks. They're not bad, but they're not automatically the right choice for everyone, and treating them like they are is exactly how people end up on the wrong side of that $500,000 gap. The Roth IRA was created in 1997, named after Senator William Roth. From the beginning, the financial establishment was skeptical. Give up the tax break now? But over the decades, as people ran the numbers, something became clear. For a large portion of savers, especially younger ones, the Roth IRA is not just slightly better, it's dramatically better. Why? Compounding, time, and the brutal math of what tax-free growth actually means over decades. Two people, same age, same income, same amount invested. One uses a traditional 401k, one uses a Roth IRA. Both invest $6,000 a year. Both earn an average annual return of 8%. Both do this for 40 years. After 40 years, the account reaches roughly $1,700,000. For the 401k person, that full amount is taxable income when they pull it out. Assuming a 22% tax rate in retirement, They walk away with roughly $1,320,000. For the Roth person, that full $1,700,000 is theirs. No taxes, no haircut, clean. The difference? Nearly $400,000 from the exact same contributions, the exact same investments, the exact same time horizon. Just two different accounts. Scale that up slightly. A little more contributed each year, a few more years of growth, a slightly higher return, and you cross the $500,000 gap easily. That's the number. That's where it comes from. And that's why this choice is not a minor detail. But here's where people make the mistake. They hear the Roth argument and either go all in without thinking through their actual situation, or they dismiss it entirely because their company doesn't offer a Roth option in the 401k, and they don't realize they can still open a separate Roth IRA on their own. Your employer's 401k and a Roth IRA are not either or. They're separate accounts with separate contribution limits. In 2024, you can contribute up to $23,000 to a 401k. Separately, you can contribute up to $7,000 to a Roth IRA, assuming your income qualifies. These accounts don't compete with each other. You can and probably should use both. The income limits for a Roth IRA matter. In 2024, if you're single and earn more than $161,000, your ability to contribute directly starts to phase out. Above $176,000, you can't contribute directly at all. If you're married filing jointly, the phase-out starts at $240,000 and cuts off at $254,000. Above those numbers, there's a strategy called the backdoor Roth conversion, but that's a separate conversation. For most people, in their 20s, 30s, or early 40s, still building their career, the Roth IRA is accessible and arguably the single most powerful retirement tool available. When you're 25 and earning $45,000 a year, your tax rate is probably 12 or 22%. The immediate tax break from the 401k is real, but it's not dramatic. Meanwhile, you have 40 years for money to compound. The longer money sits in a tax-free environment, the more powerful that status becomes. You're not just avoiding taxes on contributions, you're avoiding taxes on 40 years of growth. That's the multiplier that turns thousands into hundreds of thousands. Contrast that with someone who's 52, in the 32 or 35% bracket, at peak earning years, planning to retire at 65. The tax deduction now is meaningful and substantial. They have fewer years for compounding to work. Their income may genuinely drop in retirement. The traditional 401k starts to look more compelling. Not because the Roth is bad, but because the variables have shifted. There is no universally correct answer. The right answer depends on your current tax rate, your expected future tax rate, how many years you have until retirement, and what kind of flexibility you want. What there is a framework for thinking about it clearly. Flexibility is a factor that doesn't get nearly enough attention. A Roth IRA is dramatically more flexible than a traditional 401k. Touch 401k money before age 59 and a half, and you're hit with a 10% penalty plus ordinary income taxes. With a Roth IRA, your contributions, not the growth, but the actual money you put in, can be withdrawn at any time, for any reason, with no penalty and no taxes. You already paid taxes on that money. It's yours. This flexibility matters as an emergency backstop. It matters if you face a serious financial hardship. It matters because life is unpredictable, and having access to money without catastrophic penalties is worth something. There's also the estate planning angle. Roth IRAs have no required minimum distributions during the owner's lifetime. If you don't need the money, it keeps growing. When you pass it on to heirs, they inherit it tax-free. Though the rules on inherited Roths changed with the Secure Act in 2020. Now the employer match, because this almost always tips the scales toward the 401k, at least partially. If your employer matches contributions, say 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary, that's an instant 50% return on that portion of your money. Nothing else gives you a guaranteed 50% return on day one. Contributing at least enough to capture the full employer match is almost always the right call. That match is free money, and leaving it on the table is one of the clearest financial mistakes you can make. Here's a simple framework that holds up for most people. First, contribute to your 401k up to the amount that gets you the full employer match. Capture every dollar of free money. Second, if you qualify income-wise, max out your Roth IRA. $7,000 a year, growing tax-free for decades. Third, if you have more to invest after that, go back and contribute more to your 401k up to the annual limit. That order isn't perfect for every person in every tax situation, but it's solid, defensible, and ensures you're getting the best of both worlds. There's a version of this story that plays out constantly and painfully. Someone spends their entire career contributing aggressively to their 401k. They accumulate $1 million, $1.5 million, maybe $2 million. They feel prepared. They retire. Then slowly, the tax reality sets in. Every distribution is ordinary income. Required minimum distributions start and force them to take money they don't need yet. Their Social Security gets partially taxed because total income is too high. Medicare premiums are elevated. They look at their account and realize a big chunk of what they thought was their money is owed to the government. That's just math. And it happens to real people who saved diligently but didn't pay attention to the tax implications of the account type they chose. Flip that story. Someone who built a tax-free pool of Roth money. In retirement, they pull from that account without triggering any taxable income. Their Social Security may not be taxed. Medicare premiums stay lower. They have full control over their tax situation. That flexibility is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in many cases. The 401k is a tool. The Roth IRA is a different tool. Knowing which one to use, when, and in what proportion, that's where the $500,000 difference lives. One more thing worth addressing. People say tax rates might change. Maybe Congress raises them. Maybe they lower them. Nobody knows for certain. But here's how to think about that uncertainty. If you believe taxes are going up, and there are reasonable arguments they might, given national debt levels, the Roth becomes even more valuable. You lock in today's rate. If you believe taxes will go down, the traditional approach looks better. But the Roth IRA is a hedge. Having both a traditional 401k and a Roth IRA means you're not betting everything on one outcome. You have flexibility regardless of what happens to tax policy. Tax diversification is one of the most underrated concepts in personal finance. People obsess over diversifying investments, stocks versus bonds, domestic versus international. But they rarely think about diversifying the tax treatment of their accounts. Having money in taxable accounts, tax-deferred accounts, and tax-free accounts gives you enormous control over your retirement income and your tax bill. So where does this leave you? If you're young, your income is moderate, and you have decades ahead, lean toward the Roth. The tax-free compounding over a long-time horizon is enormously powerful. Always get the employer match first. But after that, the Roth IRA is often the most powerful move available to you. If you're at peak earning years in a high tax bracket with a realistic expectation of lower income in retirement, the traditional 401k makes more sense as your primary vehicle. The immediate deduction is genuinely valuable at 32 or 35%. If you're somewhere in the middle, which is most people, do both. Use the 401k to capture the match and reduce taxable income. Use the Roth IRA to build a pool of tax-free money. Don't put all your chips on one prediction about where tax rates will be in 30 years. And if you haven't started yet, whatever your age, whatever your situation, start. Because the other way to lose $500,000 is not making the wrong choice between these two accounts. It's making no choice at all and letting time pass. The compounding math that works so powerfully in your favor when you start early works just as powerfully against you when you start late. The gap between someone who starts at 25 and someone who starts at 35 is not 10 years of contributions. It's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars, because the early years of growth are the ones that compound the most by the time you retire. The people who retire comfortably aren't necessarily the ones who earned the most. They're often the ones who made deliberate, informed choices about where to put their money and started early enough for those choices to matter. $500,000 is sitting inside this decision. The difference between getting it right and getting it wrong is mostly just understanding what you're actually choosing between and making a deliberate choice instead of a default one. Your future self is going to live inside the financial decisions you make right now. Make sure those decisions are ones you actually chose.